New at noon, rapper Lil Boosie is expected in a Houston courtroom today after police say he attacked a security guard at a nightclub. The rapper, whose real name is Torrance Hatch Jr., is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Hey, to all my family and fans, man, I'm okay, bro. I'm all right. It's basically a money grab, man. It's a money grab, bro. This is what you go through as an entertainer. The facts of the case have come out. I mean, we in court now. But this is a money grab, man. This guy wasn't even supposed to be a security in the first place, man. This nigga done 17, 18 years for aggravated armed robbery with a deadly weapon. He just got caught at the border a couple years back, smuggling women out the country and in the country. He just got off federal paper. So, man, it's shit a money grab, bro. You know, when I first found out about the warrant a couple days ago, that's what it is. My next court date at the end of September up for this. So, it is what it is, though, but I'm all right, man. To all my fans, all my family, I'm all right.
The probable cause was read by the state. They alleged that Mr. Hatch hit someone in the head with a hookah bottle, a security guard at this club dome.
And what's the charge?
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He's doing good, so we plan to vigorously defend him and investigate the case and see where we are. We believe he was defending another person, and so we want to be able to show the state that and hopefully get this case dismissed. So today the judge set an $85,000 bond and allowed Mr. Hatch to do a walkthrough bond, which allows for him to go with a bail bonding company and make the bond. The bond conditions are to stay away from the place where this situation occurred, as well as to not have any contact with the complaining witness in the case. And we have a new court date of September 15th. I just would ask everyone to reserve judgment and let this case play out in the courthouse, in the courtroom, and not in the media.
Yo, welcome back to Backdoor Hip Hop, where we break down what's really happening, not just what the headlines say. And today we got a serious one. Boosie Badazz is back in legal trouble, and this time it's not a small situation. We're talking aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charges in the state of Texas, Houston Nightclub, a security guard in a hospital with 8 staples in his head, and Boosie already on federal probation. If you're new here, subscribe right now because we're about to break every single layer of this case down. Let's go. All right, so let's set the scene properly because a lot of people are just seeing the charge and running with it without understanding what allegedly went down. May 25th, Houston, Texas, a club called Privilege near Main Street. Boosie was there that night. Not just as a guest, he was serving as a host for the club. That detail matters, and we're coming back to it. Now, according to court documents, the club was closing down around 2 in the morning. One of Boosie's female companions tried to access the restroom. A security guard told her the club was closed and directed her towards the exit. She got upset and started arguing, and in the process dropped her phone and her keys on the floor. Now here's where everything escalates. While the security guard was trying to help her pick up her belongings, he says someone came up on him from behind and hit him in the head with a glass hookah base, hard enough that he had to be transported to the hospital, hard enough that he needed 8 staples to close the wound in his head. And 2 people, the injured guard and a second witness, both identify that person as Boosie Badazz. Now, let's talk about what aggravated assault with a deadly weapon actually means in the state of Texas, because this is not a light charge, and I don't want anybody underestimating what Boosie is facing right now. In Texas, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon is a second-degree felony at minimum. That carries anywhere from 2 to 20 years in state prison, and depending on the circumstances, prior record, severity of the injury, whether they upgrade the charge, it can escalate to a first-degree felony. We're talking 5 to 99 years on the table in a worst-case scenario. Now, the weapon here is a glass hookah base, not a gun, not a knife, but here's the thing people don't understand about Texas law. A deadly weapon doesn't have to be a firearm. Anything used in a manner capable of causing serious injury or death qualifies. A glass hookah swung at somebody's head, that absolutely meets that threshold. The DA's office knows that, the prosecutor knows that, and Boosie's legal team absolutely knows that. His bond was set at $85,000, and he was given a walkthrough bond. Next court date is September 15th. Here's where this gets really complicated, and honestly, this is the part that should have everybody concerned for Boosie, regardless of how the assault charge plays out. Boosie is currently on federal probation. He says so himself in his response video. He even said that when he found out about the warrant, the first thing he did was contact his probation officer. And look, that actually shows some level of responsibility and awareness. But here's the reality of federal probation. You don't get to catch a new charge, any charge, without your probation officer and your federal supervisor taking a very serious look at whether you violated the terms of your supervision. It doesn't matter if you're ultimately found not guilty on the assault charge. The arrest alone, the charge alone, can trigger a probation violation hearing. And at federal court, those hearings don't play. They are not lenient. Judges have wide discretion, and the burden of proof is much lower than a criminal trial. This is genuinely the most dangerous part of this entire situation for Boosie right now. Now, Boosie did come out and address this himself, and I'll give him credit. He kept it fairly measured considering the circumstances. He said he's okay, he said guys got him, and he called the whole thing a money grab. He also went after the credibility of the security guard, claiming the man had a serious criminal history, including a lengthy prison sentence and allegedly caught a federal case involving smuggling. Now, I want to be clear, I cannot independently verify those specific claims, and neither can you from a video alone. But what his legal team is clearly going to do is attack the character and credibility of the complaining witness. That's Defense 101. His attorney came out and said they plan to vigorously defend him and that they believe Boosie was defending another person, meaning this could be framed as a defense of others argument, which is actually a legitimate legal defense. If Boosie can show that he reasonably believed the woman was in danger and acted to protect her, that changes the entire narrative of the case. The question is, does the evidence support that, and do the two witnesses telling a different story create too big of a hole to overcome? I want to come back to something I mentioned at the top because I think it's being overlooked in most coverage of this story. Boosie wasn't just at this club, he was the host. He was working that night in an official capacity. That means the club had a relationship with him. That means there may be footage, contracts, communications, staff who can speak to what his role and behavior was that evening. It also means he had a responsibility, a professional responsibility to how things went down in that building. If you're the host, you're the draw. People are there because of you. And the management, the security, the staff, they're all operating around your presence. That cuts both ways legally. On one hand, it establishes he was authorized to be there and knew the environment. On the other hand, it means he had every reason to de-escalate rather than escalate, because any incident reflects directly on him. His legal team needs to lean into that. A host protecting a guest versus a random person attacking security. Those are very different stories. And look, I have to be straight with y'all here because this is backdoor hip-hop and we keep it real. Boosie has dealt with legal situations throughout his career. He's beaten serious charges before. He's spoken openly about his health battles, his family, his growth, and there are a lot of people who genuinely ride for Boosie because he's given a lot to his community and to hip-hop culture as a whole. But at some point, the conversation has to be about the pattern of environments and situations, not as a condemnation, because innocent until proven guilty is real, and we mean that here, but as a practical reality. When you're on federal supervision, every single environment you walk into carries risk, not because of who you are as a person necessarily, but because one wrong moment, one wrong confrontation, one wrong person deciding to press charges, and all of that supervised freedom is gone. The people around you matter. The exits you take out of situations matter because the system does not give you credit for all the times you walked away. It only records the times you didn't. So where does this case go from here? September 15th is the next court date. Between now and then, Boosie's legal team is going to be doing three things: investigating that security guard's background aggressively, looking for any camera footage that might support the defense of others' argument, and working to manage the federal probation situation quietly behind the scenes so it doesn't spiral into a separate legal crisis. The DA is going to be looking at the medical records, the witness statements, and deciding whether to pursue this aggressively or whether there's room for a plea or reduction. My read, this doesn't go away quietly. Two witnesses, a victim with documented injuries, and a defendant on federal probation. Prosecutors are not going to let that walk out the door. Boosie's team has work to do and not a lot of time to do it. That's the full breakdown right here on Backdoor Hip Hop. We're going to stay on this story and update you as September 15th gets closer. Like the video, share it with somebody who needs the real analysis, not just the headlines. Subscribe if you're new. We do this every time something major breaks. I'm out. Stay up.